Let's talk about your hometown. What is your hometown like?
Well, my hometown is a really dynamic and multicultural city. It's famous for its beautiful natural surroundings. You've got mountains, forests, and the ocean all close by. But at the same time, there's a lively urban scene. Personally, I love that you could go hiking in the morning and still have a nice dinner at a great restaurant in the evening.
What do you like most about your hometown?
I'd say what I enjoy most is the mix of nature and city life. It makes it easy to have an active outdoorsy lifestyle, which I really appreciate. You're never far from a park, a beach, or a hiking trail, so it feels really balanced. For me, that's what makes living there special.
Are there any changes you would like to see in your hometown?
Hmm. I think the biggest change I'd like to see is tackling the housing affordability issue. It's a big problem, especially for young people and families. I'd also love to see better public transport and more green spaces in the city center that would make the city even more enjoyable to live in.
Let's move on to the topic of music. Do you enjoy listening to music?
Absolutely. Music is a huge part of my life. I listen to it constantly while I'm commuting, working, or just relaxing. It's an essential tool for me to either focus my thoughts or simply unwind.
What kind of music do you like?
My tastes are quite eclectic, but if I had to choose, I'm particularly fond of indie folk and classical music. I find that indie folk often has really insightful lyrics and a soothing acoustic sound, while classical music, particularly pieces from composers like Debussy, can be incredibly moving and complex.
Did you learn to play a musical instrument when you were a child?
Yes, I did. I learned to play the piano for several years, starting from when I was about 6. My parents encouraged me, and I'm really glad they did. While I don't practice as often as I used to, I still enjoy playing for my own pleasure. It's a skill that has stayed with me and brings me a lot of joy.
Let's talk about shopping. Do you enjoy shopping?
Not particularly. I don't really enjoy spending a lot of time in malls or big stores. I much prefer online shopping because it's more convenient and I can easily compare prices. I only really go to a physical store if I need to buy something specific like groceries.
Do you prefer shopping alone or with others?
I definitely prefer shopping alone. When I shop for clothes, for example, I like to take my time and try things on without feeling rushed. When I'm with friends, it often turns into a social event, which is fun, but not very productive for actual shopping.
What was the last thing you bought?
The last thing I bought was a new pair of running shoes. I had been planning to replace my old ones for a while, and I finally got around to it. It was a planned purchase, not a spontaneous one.
Finally, let's talk about holidays. What is your favorite public holiday?
That would have to be Christmas. I love the festive atmosphere, the beautiful lights, and the opportunity to spend quality time with my family and friends. It's also a great excuse to bake a lot of cookies and listen to a lot of cheesy holiday music.
What do you usually do during the holidays?
My family has a few traditions. We usually get together for a big dinner, exchange gifts, and play some board games. We also love to go for a walk to look at the elaborate Christmas lights in our neighborhood.
Do you prefer to spend holidays with your family or friends?
While I cherish the time with my friends, I would say I prefer to spend major holidays like Christmas with my family. It's a special time to reconnect with loved ones who I might not see as often, and it brings a sense of nostalgia and comfort.
Thank you. That's the end of part one. Now, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you start, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Here is your topic. Your minute to prepare starts now. All right, your time is up. You can start speaking now.
So I'd like to talk about a really fascinating animal I saw, an orca or killer whale. I think this was about 2 years ago, maybe a little more, when I was on a whale watching trip with my family off the coast of Vancouver Island in Canada. We were in one of those small inflatable boats that sit quite low on the water, so it felt exciting, but also a bit nerve wracking, to be honest. At first, we only spotted some seals and sea lions, which was nice, but not really what we were hoping for. Then, after about an hour, the guide suddenly pointed out a pod of orcas in the distance. We slowly moved closer, keeping a safe distance, and three of them, a mother, her calf, and a really big male, came much nearer to our boat than I expected. The male even jumped right out of the water, which was absolutely breathtaking. I also remember hearing some of their calls faintly above the surface, which gave me goosebumps because I'd only ever heard that in documentaries before. I think it was so interesting, mainly because of their behavior. They weren't just swimming randomly, they moved together in perfect sync, almost like they were performing. It made me realize how intelligent and social these animals are. Honestly, it was nothing like reading about them in a book or seeing them on a screen. It was raw, it was real, and it gave me a new level of respect for marine life. Definitely one of the most unforgettable experiences I've ever had.
We've been talking about animals. I'd like to discuss some more general questions with you about this topic. Let's talk about the relationship between humans and animals. Why do you think people keep pets?
I think the main reason is companionship. Pets, whether it's a dog, a cat, or even something small like a hamster, give people unconditional love and comfort. I've seen this personally with a friend of mine who was living alone. Having her dog around really helped her deal with stress and loneliness. Pets also give structure to your day. For example, walking a dog or feeding them at the same time every day gives a routine that can be very grounding. For children, having a pet can teach responsibility and empathy because they have to care for another living being. So overall, I'd say it's really a two-way relationship. People care for the pets, but the pets give a lot back emotionally.
Do you think people have become more concerned about animal welfare in recent years?
Yes, definitely. I think there's been a noticeable shift in public awareness. For instance, more people are supporting animal rights organizations and campaigns for humane farming practices. Social media has also played a huge role. Videos and posts about animal cruelty or endangered animals spread quickly and make people stop and think. Personally, I've noticed that even friends who weren't really interested in animals before have become more aware of issues like avoiding products tested on animals or reducing single-use plastics that harm marine life. Overall, it feels like society is gradually recognizing that animals are sentient beings with their own needs and rights, not merely resources for human use.
What is the importance of protecting endangered animals?
I think it's incredibly important for a few reasons. First, from an ecological perspective, every species plays a role in the ecosystem. So losing even one can upset the balance. It can have a chain reaction that affects other animals, plants, and even humans. Second, there's an ethical aspect. As humans, we have the power to impact other species' survival. So we also have a responsibility to protect them. And finally, many endangered animals are part of our cultural or natural heritage. For example, animals like the giant panda or tigers have become symbols of biodiversity. Losing them wouldn't just be a biological loss. It would be a cultural tragedy as well. Personally, seeing campaigns to protect these animals makes me feel we're moving in the right direction, but there's still a lot more to do.
Do you think it is necessary to preserve all species, even those that might not have a direct benefit to humans?
Yes, absolutely. I think judging a species value only by how useful it is to humans is very short sighted. For instance, some insects or plants might seem insignificant, but they could be crucial for pollination or supporting other parts of the ecosystem we don't fully understand yet. Also, from a moral standpoint, I believe every species has a right to exist. Preserving them isn't just about practical benefits, it's about respecting life and maintaining the natural balance. Personally, I feel that even species that seem unimportant could hold secrets for medicine, ecology, or climate adaptation in the future. So it's wise to protect them all.
Thank you. That's the end of the speaking test.